نبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. كيف حالكم؟ Alhamdulillah. Beloved brothers and sisters in Islam, respected viewers and listeners, this evening we begin and conclude inshallah the third chapter from this book. In fact, this chapter is maybe of the shortest in this book. It contains essentially two lines, alhamdulillah. It's a dream chapter when studying fiqh, alhamdulillah. And so the author states, وقال المصنف رحمه الله فصل, the chapter, ولا يجوز استعمال الأواني الذهب والفضة ويجوز استعمال غيرهما من الأواني. That's it, alhamdulillah. That's it in the chapter. So the author states, وَلَا يَجُوز. Can you translate that? And it is not permissible استعمال أواني الذهب والفضة, to use containers or crockery. Let me use the word crockery. To use crockery that is made of gold and silver. And the author continues, وَيَجُوزُ إِسْتِعْمَالُ غَيْرِهِمَا مِنَ الْأَوَانِ. And it is permissible to use containers other than those that have been mentioned. So we find the hadith in Bukhari and Muslim on the authority of Hudayfa radiallahu anhu, in which the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam has said, and there's great virtue in this hadith, لا تلبسوا الحرير ولا الدباج ولا تشربوا في آنية الذهب والفضة ولا تأكلوا في صحافها فإنها لهم في الدنيا ولنا في الآخرة. So the Prophet says sallallahu alayhi wasallam, do not wear silk, a commandment, and dibaj, which is a garment also attributed to silk. وَلَا تَشْرَبُوا, and do not drink, فِي آنِيَةِ الذَّهَبِ وَالْفِضَّةِ, do not drink from something that is made of gold or silver. وَلَا تَأْكُلُوا فِي صِحَافِهَا, and don't eat from plates that are made of that. فَإِنَّهَا لَهُمْ فِي الدُّنْيَا, for verily it is for them in this world, وَلَنَا فِي الْآخِرَةِ, and it is for the Muslims in the Akhirah. So the benefit from this very short chapter, the fiqh, mas'ala, and ruling that we get, is that we may not drink out of goblets or cups and eat out of plates or use platters that are made of pure gold and silver. That is the original teaching as we see it in this book and from the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And by extension, the fuqaha state, the jurists indicate, by extension, we can't use utensils that are also made of that. So utensils made of gold and utensils made of silver. Now, a common question that arises whenever we study this section in fiqh is, so what about gold-plated items? Because finding a pure gold plate is probably only in Dubai or somewhere where people might eat out of that. So what about gold-plated items? So the fuqaha have two opinions. The one opinion, in accordance with the vast majority of scholars within the Shafi'i madhab, is that gold-plated items, and this is a test for it, if you burn the item, you place the item in fire, this is what the fuqaha indicate as a test. If you place the item that has gold on it, or it's gold plated, you place it into a fire, and once it's removed from the fire, if there's any trace left over of gold or silver, then that item is impermissible for use. But if there's nothing left, nothing remaining, then that item could be used. The other opinion is that the item is not considered gold, and as such can't get the ruling of pure gold. But the fatwa of Al-Azhar is, in line of caution, that rather stay away from items that are gold plated as well. And then another uh, question comes about in this area. So, what about Muslims making things appear to be gold? Is it something recommended in the Sharia? So the ulama indicate it does not fall into tahrim, into something which is haram, or la yajuz bila shak. It is impermissible without any doubt. It is not in that category. But we know that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by virtue of this hadith, says rather stay away from items that are attributed to gold. So there isn't, and of course there'll be a number again. I think of Dubai, a number of course that have to be taken off the road, because gold is a popular, measure of a person's wealth. And so the teaching in fiqh is that rather stay away from gold and silver, because the Prophet ﷺ indicated it is of the belongings and the rights of a Muslim in the akhirah, and we sacrifice it in the dunya. And on top of it, we also extend this to males and females. So as opposed to gold jewelry that might be permissible for a lady to use, and not permissible for men to use when it comes to crockery and cutlery, gold and silver is forbidden for both males and females, inshallah. And alhamdulillah, we conclude this chapter. Are there any questions relating to this, inshallah? Yes, inshallah. So if, again, this is what they attribute in particular to the cutlery. So they say if the item is sort of like stainless steel, if it gets sort of that ruling, naturally it does not go into the category of silver and gold, so no doubt over there. But if we look at the item, let's say the knife and the fork, sorry for those who are listening, the question was the cutlery that is sort of like, sterling silver and steel, can that be used? That was the question that was posed. So the response is, if it is steel, no problem, we can use it. If it is silver to the extent that it is categorized more as silver than any other metal, then it would be preferable to remain and to stay away from using that particular item. But we cannot extend the ruling of haram. As we see, the author says, yajuz and la yajuz, permissible and impermissible. Jazakallah khairan. Any other questions? وصلى الله وسلم عليه والحمد لله رب العالمين. شكرا.